Welcome back, everybody, to the Good Shepherd YouTube channel, also as a podcast. Very excited to be coming to you tonight because we finally got it. We finally got The Last Dance, the 10-episode documentary documenting Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls in the 1997-98 NBA season. This is a sports thriller, and it's a thing that a lot of sports fans needed at this particular time without live events. And boy, did it deliver. And I'm not even getting paid for this endorsement. It was such a good documentary. I hope, this is what I hope. I hope that kids in their 20s and the teenagers of this world, especially in the basketball society, the basketball brethrens, if you will, saw how amazing and how polarizing and just how absolutely eye-dropping, jaw-dropping, everything-dropping Michael Jordan was, because Michael Jordan was the NBA. You know, you have LeBron, and people even debate LeBron. They'll say, no, Giannis is the best player in the world, or Durant is the best player in the world, or LeBron doesn't win the title without Kyrie. No one was saying that about Michael Jordan. There was Michael Jordan, and there was everybody else. And that's how the NBA hierarchy worked back then. There's three things that really stood out to me that I hope people really got out of that documentary. First of all, it was fantastic. Michael Jordan came into the NBA as the player of the year in college basketball. 2 years before that, he won them the national title with arguably the most important shot in the history of North Carolina. Then we know that he was the best player on Team USA in the 1984 Olympics, under Bobby Knight. Maybe the most intimidating, hardest you-know-what to play for in the history of not just amateur basketball, but professional basketball. I mean, he was that ruthless as a coach. And he said, at 21, that Michael Jordan was the best player he had ever seen. And that was at 21. Not a second had Michael Jordan ever put his feet and laced him up in the NBA. And Bobby Knight, one of the greatest coaches of all time, was making that proclamation. And Michael Jordan came into the NBA and he said, I don't care what I did in college. I don't care what I did at the Summer Olympics. All that matters is now. And I'm going to have to earn everything I get. I don't know about you, but in today's society, with the amount of attention and the amount of accolades and the amount of juice that people throw at these athletes, these five-star recruits, for an athlete to accomplish what Michael did and come into the NBA so hungry and humble is so rare. That's the first thing that stood out to me about Michael Jordan. Here's the second thing, and it kind of plays into the attitude and the humility and the humble pie that Michael Jordan personified when he came into the NBA. There was an instance when he was knocking on one of his teammates' doors, and the teammate had said, shh, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. And then Michael said, well, there was a guy with a deep voice. And he said, who is it? And MJ goes, it's MJ. Clearly, MJ would go, it's MJ. And he said, oh, it's just a rookie, don't worry about it. Michael Jordan walked in, and basically, his words, not me, I'm not even paraphrasing, his words was, you basically saw most of the Chicago Bulls in that room doing drugs. Now, this is a 21-year-old impressionable rookie. Now, I think what most people would do in that situation, they're 21, they're a pup, they're seeing these grown men, family men doing this. You're often going to expect or accept, even be resigned to the fact that that may be the culture of not just that particular team, but the NBA. But Jordan wanted nothing to do with that. From that moment on, Jordan said, I might be on my own on this franchise. I might be on an island. But it's going to be an island that I know I can walk around on my own volition. And that's exactly what he did. And by the third game of the young NBA season, or I should say young NBA career of Michael Jordan, by the third game, there was no Bull personnel, there was no Bulls player, and there was no coach in that franchise that would tell you anything differently than Michael Jordan was the best player in every single game the Bulls would be on the court for that season. And it was his third game in. It was the comeback when he had. And it just goes to show you how amazing it was that Michael Jordan had the maturity at 21, having the background that he did, having the education, knowing the fact that his mother valued education at such a high premium, even more than basketball. And that carried over to Michael Jordan's mental acumen, his emotional maturity, and ultimately his sound decision making. Because if Michael Jordan did not have that educational background, that rooted, mature, stable family, we may never have seen Jordan take off the way he did. And what you saw, it wasn't the United Center, by the way. I learned this tonight. It was called the Chicago Stadium. The Chicago Stadium is where they played at before the United Center. And before Jordan got there, they were having 2/3 of that arena empty. 2/3 of that arena empty. But Michael Jordan came along, sold out like that. Sold out faster than you can say MJ. I've used MJ a lot tonight, but that's okay because it's very much appropriate. The last thing I'm going to say is this about Michael Jordan, and it's a lesson that most of us already knew, but it just reinforces the greatness of MJ. Said it again. Michael Jordan, whether it was playing an exhibition game in Paris or an exhibition tournament, they had that early tournament in 1997. I'm a huge NBA fan. I don't even remember it. It's no disrespect against the tournament. I just don't remember it. I don't think most NBA fans would. But you know who gave it 100% of his effort, his energy, his mentality, his grit, his will, his heart? It was Michael Jordan. Without Scotty and Dennis. Very well could have just said, you know what, I'm going to play 15, 20 minutes a game. I'm getting ready for the 97, 98 season. That was not his mentality. Michael Jordan was not just a killer and a competitor unlike anyone we had ever seen to that point. Michael Jordan was a guy that always thought about the fans. He always thought about the working person, the working man as the expression goes, and I should say appropriately the working woman too, that they may never see me again, and I want to make sure that I'm going to give them the best damn show of my life. I'm going to give them substance like they've never seen before, and I want to make sure they walk away saying that they saw one of the greatest basketball players to ever lace them up. And Michael Jordan never for 1 second had that attitude vanish. That was Michael Jordan on a back-to-back in the second and third game of the season. And that was Michael Jordan of Game 6, 98 finals, Game 6, 97 finals, Game 5 when they won the 91 title, his first championship, etc. I am beyond excited for what I'm going to see in the next 9 episodes. I really hope you're tuning in because this is something that so many of us lived through in the 90s, and there was just an appreciation for Jordan that we had never seen before for any athlete, and to be frank, I don't think that we've seen since. I encourage you to go watch this documentary, Last Dance. You can catch it on ESPN, also you can catch it on Netflix. It is so well worth it. It will be such an investment of your time. You know what you want to do? You're going to watch the documentary. You're going to get your sneakers. If you have a hole in your sneaker, it doesn't matter. You're going to find a basketball court outside. If not, you're going to make up a basketball court and get like a little Nerf ball and that little, the little Nerf baskets that we used to have where we'd like hang it up on our door and we'd slam dunk it when we were 8 years old. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. That's going to get so much excitement for you in watching this documentary. It's so worth it, man. It's going to bring you back in a time when basketball, it just seemed like was more organic. They played more together as a team. There's nothing wrong with the product now, but there is a little bit of nostalgia because it did seem like back then players invested more in the game and less brand. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to watch this. Make sure you subscribe to The Good Shepherd. It's not going to come up, but I'm going to keep doing it and hope for the best. Again, you can subscribe to the channel called The Good Shepherd, and also you can follow my podcast also titled The Good Shepherd. Next episode is absolutely going to be about this continued documentary, but I'm going to tell you why the most famous person in the world never even graduated from college. And I think you know who it is, but I'm also going to tell you why no other player is going to reach the fame that this particular individual did. Okay, it's MJ. You got it. But point being, you're going to find out why there is never going to be another player, as long as basketball goes, for however long, It's not even about the quality of the player, it's about the fame. Michael Jordan will be the most famous basketball player to ever lace them up, and it will never come close to being attained by anybody else. You're going to want to tune into that episode 6. Again, guys, I know the coronavirus is still hitting us very much so. My last wishes and my last sentiments have to be this, and appropriately so. Your families, your friends, I hope they get through this. I hope they go out unscathed. And obviously, thoughts and prayers for those that have lost loved ones. Thanks again for tuning in, and stay safe.